timer at. But yeah, today is the day of 7. I don't, I can't really repeat the things I just said because I was kind of like, but we got into the number 7 about being about the Libra scales. Law, justice, truth, and righteousness, interpersonal relationships, bonds, and contracts is heavy here. Those are the Libra scales. Libra is Venusian rule. The seventh sphere, or the seventh Sephiroth, is ruled by Venus. This is Netzach. This is when we get into the space of creation. We're making things all pretty in our space. And then we got into heavy about the importance of joy, right? And the importance of feeling joy in the process of whatever it is that you're trying to create. When we wait until the end, like, okay, the work week is a good one. The work week is very perfect when it comes to when it comes to the spiritual warfare, right? I know you guys are very well informed now with the etymology of the the words that we use, like week. Why are we on a week? And then weekend, you know what I'm saying? And you have a man ager, and all those different things like that, or a supervisor, people watching over you and stuff like that. So we did the work with the words. However, the spiritual warfare is in the Monday through Friday. You feel like you're not supposed to feel joy. You're not supposed to feel joy throughout that space of you building yourself up for Friday, that Venusian day, which, that brings us to the Netzach. Like, okay, now I can feel joy on this day because I worked all week. No, you're supposed to feel joy every day, every moment, and every activity you do. Again, it comes to the mindset of, if it's not bringing you joy, then you're doing yourself a disservice. And this is where we come into there's always something, and the work is never done, and no matter how much I want, the bar always raises, and da-da-da-da. And it's because, like, first of all, life is infinite and the space is infinite, and you're never going to be done as long as you're here. Every time you wake up, there's something else to do, da-da-da-da. But again, if you're not feeling joy in it, you're not really flowing through the process how you're supposed to be. You keep looking for an end game, because you're not finding joy in the process of it all. Oh, look, there go a Libra right there. Happy day of 7. You're not finding joy in the process of it all, and the joy is what you're supposed to have. That's the balance of the things, you know what I'm saying? That's the Venusian of the things. That's the Netzach. Joy is a part of the building. Joy is a part of the creating. It is not supposed to just be about the results. I can only feel joy on Friday after I worked all week. I can only feel joy after I get the car. I can only feel joy after I get the money, after I get the house, after I get the girl, after I have the kids, after I do all the different things that's been programmed into me to want. That's when I'll feel joy. And then you get those things, and then it's just like, well, where's my joy? Because this is hard and that's hard, and da-da-da. And I didn't realize there's no end game to this yet, because it's the journey, it's the process that you're supposed to feel joy in. There is no end game until you're in the dirt, and even then there is no end game. Your energy goes somewhere else to do some other things. So utilize that 7 Sephiroth. Allow yourself to be in that joy and that imagination throughout the whole process of everything you got going on. Because, like I said, you're doing yourself a disservice. I'm not going to say what you're not going to do, because you're going to manifest. If your mind is on that manifesting, and your mind is creating a reality, and you trust and you're determined, and you're going to have those things. However, how you navigate through those things your mind is creating is going to be affected greatly, because you haven't allowed yourself to feel that joy. So your compass is missing a big part of itself. You're not feeling that imagination, that creativity to help you navigate through the reality your mindset has created for you. You know what I'm saying? So, be mindful of that. You ask for flowers and it rains, and you're not feeling joy during the rain, you're not going to be able to appreciate that process to the creation of flowers. It's going to be like, well, I can't wait till the rain is done so we can get the flowers. I can't wait till the rain is done so we get the flowers. But, even when you get the flowers, you still got to water the flowers, right? You can't just be like, oh, the flowers are here, may it never rain again, because how are the flowers going to get water? You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is. Jesus is king. Absolutely correct. Jesus is king. And so are we. We have Christ consciousness in all of us. And that's one of the messages that Jesus was trying to give us. Jesus was showing us all the things that we could do if we lived a certain lifestyle and delved deep inside of ourselves enough. I talked about that earlier this week, about praising the messenger so much that you lose sight of the message. We should never lose sight of the message. It's all this bickering on whether or not Jesus existed, what was Jesus' name, what did Jesus look like, what was his skin color, da-da-da. What was the message? what was Jesus saying do? How, you know what I'm saying? That's the real like dialogue we should get into, because those are the energies and the actions and the behaviors and the mindsets we should be emulating if that's the lifestyle that we want to live. You know what I'm saying? If that love that Jesus was surrounded by, if that support that Jesus was surrounded by, that sense of freedom that Jesus was surrounded by. Jesus ain't no job, he ain't no 9 to 5, he ain't no bank account. Bank accounts existed back then. The marketplace existed back then. He wasn't engaging in none of that stuff. But you are. But you come on here and talk about Jesus is king. Are you doing what Jesus told you to do? Or did you come over here to invoke me? I don't think Jesus would have did that either. So those are that WWJD bracelet is some real shit, and people need to start really applicating it. So let's get off the 7 for a second. But we got heavy into the 7. It was a good time, right? 7 in supreme mathematics is God. We are in the month of 6. This is the month of Tiphareth. Tiphareth is the Sephiroth that's in the center. It's associated with the heart. I know you guys have seen the images associated with Jesus with that heart being on fire. That is Tiphareth. That is the Jesus. To get to the God, you got to go through the sun. Right? You got to go through the Tiphareth to get to the God, which is the creator, which is the mindset that creates the reality in our space. You know what I'm saying? We say, let there be this. I want that. I want that. And we make it in our space, and our heart tells us if it's good or not. You know what I'm saying? If our heart tells us it's not good, what do? We destroy it. As we have done in our realities, do we not? Ashe. So it's all about how you think and how you navigate through your space, right? Hey, Dom, peace to the God. Oh yeah, Jesus definitely loves me. Jesus loves you too. You have a great day, beloved. Hey, Dom. Uh, who's Jesus? Jesus is everybody. Jesus and everybody. Jesus Christ consciousness to get to, and everybody can have it if they wanted it. It's up to you. Hey, Michael. So I won't get too deep into that. I don't want to, because I see where this is going. So 6 is the Tiphareth. This is the heart on fire. Tiphareth is associated with the word beauty. Then we get into Heru here, you know, if you guys know the stories of those deities. And then I want to get into what the 6 is, since we're going to be here all month, right? Because every number that we deal with throughout this month is going to be to the 6, to our heart. And our heart is the compass that navigates us through the reality that we're creating. So by design that we're in the month of 6, during a sun in Gemini. The sun is in the space of intellect, giving us those intellectual experiences, you know, allowing our mindset to create a multitude of options around us. But the goal is to be focused and flexible, not fickle. You know what I'm saying? So be aware of that. You know what I'm saying? So while the sun is giving us these intellectual experiences during this month of 6, allow our 6, our Tiphareth, to navigate us through these experiences our mindset is creating. So when we get into the 6, we're in Hebrew. As far as Canaanites go, we're in Michael, Tiphareth in the Kabbalah, Shango and Yoruba. This is 6th sphere, ruled by the sun. Red and white are the colors for the month. The spiritual hakao is Hrim, Hrim. You want to face the west when you're doing that hakao. Planetary hakao is Ong, Hring, Hring, Hong, and you want to face northeast when you're doing that hakao. And as far as this effect of the 6 on the animal spirit, which is our animated body, what is it? Animalia Damascus. That's going to be the name of my next music project. Some positive traits is being magnanimous, desirous of power and leadership, full of vitality, hence being strong-willed, zealous, noble, lofty, proud, ardent, authoritative, humane, reserved, above using underhanded means and struggle against opponents. Some negative traits is being arrogant, extravagant, indecisive, overbearing, dictatorial, excessive pride, devitalized, hence weak-willed, tyrannical, boastful, yet empty, egotistical. Some mental traits during the month of 6. Some career functions is people in authoritative positions, father or mother in a one-parent household, king, prince, leaders, lieutenant, deputy mayor, governor, boss, supervisor, etc., and self-employment. So those people that are on the forefront that are helping navigate through the experience, those positions are on the forefront during this month, right? And we see that heavily, especially because like June 10th is the time for the first rounds of votes for people running for, state elections, local elections. So that's a big thing. We see the leaders have been on the forefront on social media since the beginning of this month. Well, they have been since the beginning, whatever, because the sun is in the 4th house, but we can get into that in another space and time. But definitely, like right now on the 6th, we have leaders bickering. We have leadership meetings happening, still moving on in the space. Small business owners. I don't like the word small. Business owners, entrepreneurs, more activities for us to do now that the festivals are coming out and different events are coming out. It's getting nicer outside. It's coming more into the space of, harvesting, you know, we're coming outside. We're coming outside. So it's more things to do. So more stuff like this is going to be coming out. Spiritual portfolio, the will, the men ab, the determinant of character, crossroads, transitions, changes, transcending, and the essence of our divinity. The will is the essence of our divinity. In the same manner that we help children develop by allowing them freedom to act within a cycle of limitations, the Supreme Being develops man's divinity by allowing him a certain amount of freedom within a rank past none. The circle that man cannot pass corresponds to secular structural lines that keep the world and its events in place. Outside of these, man has the freedom to choose what he wills. But as we have seen, success depends on law and order. As Tahuti and Maya correspond to the communication of the divine law to our mind and not its imposition, we have the freedom to follow or ignore it. This freedom of the will to follow or ignore divine law is the basis of our divinity. There is no divinity where there is compulsion. We saw in the past chapters that the Men-Op system of meditation is the means of liberating and perfecting the use of the will. On our perfection of the system depends on the upliftment of our character and our spiritual growth. The only time that spiritual growth and our transcending of our conditionings take place is when we live truth of our free will in the crossroads situations. These situations are characterized by 1, the appearance that we will lose a great deal, real, imagined, or perceived, which will be opposed to 2, the truth which must be followed, and 3, the intuition of clever and seemingly convincing rationalizations for not following the truth. The latter is contributed by Set. So that's what we're dealing with when we're in the month of 6, utilizing our emotions. Why 90% of preaching the word God or Jesus be the most evil? Where did you even get that percentage from? I don't know 90% of the pastors and preachers out there to agree or disagree with you to say that that number is correct. But I know that images are being fed to you guys constantly to create a reality around you. I just got done talking about that. Y'all be mindful of all this stuff y'all keep ingesting over and over and over and over again on these screens, because it's creating a reality and a mindset with you. So now, because you've seen some images about maybe 10 to 20 worship leaders that were corrupt, now the millions of worship leaders in the world, millions, tens of millions, because you got to figure there's billions of people in the world. So because you saw maybe 100, maybe, I doubt you've seen a whole 100 of worship leaders be corrupt. Now all the millions that devote their life to passing good word and helping the communities and doing all the things through their church and their social services, now they're corrupt. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy work. That's crazy work. It's like you see like the same like 6, 7 rich people be corrupt and do weird shit. Now that projection is being ingested. Now it's all rich people, all people above a certain tax bracket, and like they're all bad. You see, it's intentional that you're seeing the images that you're seeing constantly, consistently, and repeated. You know what I'm saying? It's by design. It's so you can create that reality that, rich people are bad, spiritual leaders are bad, tarot readers are bad, people over here are bad, this over here is evil, And now you have this space of, now you're in a box by yourself on Lonely Island, because you allow social media algorithms to infiltrate your mindset, that you're not projecting in your reality, that everything and everybody around you is bad and all you got is you, and that's all you have. And I mean, that's not the best reality to live in. I don't suggest it at all. I suggest you turn the screens off and you go outside. Go touch some grass, as my niece would say. Go touch some grass, go have some experiences, go do some stuff. You know what I'm saying? Go navigate the world and come up to your own conclusions and your own reality with the energy you connect. Will you connect negative energy and experience negative people and all that? Yeah, you absolutely will. You absolutely will. Every time you go outside, you absolutely will. But you're going to connect to love too. You're going to connect to opportunities and abundance as well. You keep your frequency on a certain kind of frequency, you'll attract good things. If you go outside with attitude, you're going to be greeted with attitude. right? People opening the door for you, smiling, saying hi, good morning, and you over there scowling and being rude and da-da-da. Yeah, you're going to keep attracting negative things. Me, I go outside. I think my resting face is a little funky, but once I start smiling and stuff, it becomes a great day. People smiling back at me, people want to talk to me, people asking me about my jewelry, and oh, you look nice today, and oh, I hope you have a great day, and how are you, and I get all that when I smile. I don't know what my resting face look like. It must look crazy. But when I smile, it turns everything to a little whole 180 in my reality. So I'm like, smile more, sunshine. And that's where we're at. So that we done went over the day of 7. We done went over the month of 6. This month is supreme mathematics is equality. You reap what you sow, so like you're going to reap it. 6 deals with not just the temperate, which is the balance being between your upper sephiros and your lower sephiros, your emotional, non-physical components and your actual physical components that give life to things in the physical world. This is the balance being between the two, right? Your heart is connected to all the organs in your body. It's providing oxygen in the blood through it to and from, right? And then like on an energetic level, the Tippereth, which is in the same spot, is providing frequencies to and from all your other sephiros. You know what I'm saying? So being in alignment with that. Thank you so much for the stars. That was love. Thank you. I don't get stars very often on here. I appreciate that. But yeah, that's a thing. So the 6 also deals with Virgo energy of harvest, cultivating things, organizing self, decision making is a big one. Allow your heart to guide you through this reality. I'm going to keep saying that all month. So by the time we get today, how many days is in this month? 30. By the time we get to day 30, I'm going to be like, all right, sunshine. Okay, cool. But are you doing it though? Like, are you allowing your heart and how you feel navigate you through this reality that your mind is creating? And are you, being aware, responsible, and accountable of the fact that your mind is what's creating this reality around yourself? Change your mind. You know what I'm saying? Your heart will tell you if your mind is in the right place. But we've been conditioned to ignore our feelings. Regardless of how I feel, I still got to go to work. Regardless of how I feel, I got to stay at this job. Regardless of how I feel. Why? Because my thoughts think that, oh, this is going to get cut off. That's going to get cut off. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. All these negative things are going to happen if I change my reality, regardless of how I feel. You guys got to start taking risks. Some of you guys look up to some very risky people. Some of you guys are looking up to some very, very risky people, and you want the reality that a lot of risky people live. But they had to take some crazy risks. They had to get out of their head and follow their heart. If you're not willing to do that, you can't expect yourself to have those kind of realities. And that's some real shit. You're not going to be doing things that we've been intellectually trained into thinking that is responsible or mature or realistic or grounded or whatever, balanced or whatever, what have you. You're not going to be doing any of those things. And that's the truth of the matter. But that's what 6 wants to bring you to, in that number of equality, that Virgo energy, that Tippereth, So we're going to take the 7 of God, and we're going to put it into the space of equality. Because, of course, we want to harvest with our godly-like self. And I hope you guys are balanced on that 7. I hope you guys are feeling this sense of joy, this Netzach, the celestial designers, your inner Oshun, you know what I'm saying? May it go to your Tippereth accordingly. Yeah? So you put that 7 into the 6, and that brings us to 13. That's a karmic number. Ooh, we hate that number 13, right? We've been taught to be afraid of that number. For those of you guys who are in cults, you guys are the most fascinated by that number, especially when you get into the history of it. So throughout history, we've been taught to do away with the moon and pay more attention to the sun, even down to biblical times, right? Because I love when people come from the Bible and tell me, oh, you guys aren't supposed to be learning about this, teaching things like that. You guys know that was the war between the sun and the moon, the silver war, going from silver to gold. So dethroning the matriarchal energy. It was supposed to be equal between man and woman. Women a little bit more to the forefront, just a little bit. But in a different way. It wasn't even in the forefront. It's just like 2 different compartments, you know what I'm saying? And then a compartment together as equals. So that war on the feminine energy, knowing the unknown, right? Going inward, spiritual connections, all those things. That was, they started labeling different things, depends on what culture you're in. And the Christian world is demonic. You know what I'm saying? So 13 is the moon phases. We have 13 moon phases. Oh, it was another number of 13. Oh yeah, the moon moves 13 degrees a day. I noticed that as I'm doing the patterns on the moon, I want to do a live with that with y'all. I got to get through that Pluto live. We're going to get there one time. My schedule is just be like, and I'm finally getting to my routine, which has me like boom, 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 boom. And then I'm going to sleep. But it's okay. I'm going to get there. But whatever. Anyway, so 13 is dealing with that moon energy, the feminine energy, spiritual number. It's 1 is about knowledge, right? And 3 is about expression. Expressing what you know is karmic, because we live in a world where you have to think what everybody is teaching you to think. You know what I'm saying? You went to school for 12 years. Well, 13 if you want to do the kindergarten situation. So you went to school for 13 years because for people to tell you what to think. This is what you should think. This is what you should think about history. This is what you should think about math. This is what you should think about English. We don't do feelings here, right? Not too many feelings unless you have one of those teachers that cultivate that from yourself. We did have skills for growing, but that was more so thinking instead of emotions, right? So it wasn't so much emotional intelligence and maturity and cultivation and stuff going on in these schools. It's more so like, we're telling you guys what to think. This is what to think about science. This is what to think about these things. You know what I'm saying? For 13 years. And so that's another play on that. So for you to express what you know, what you think, is a big deal. 1 is also Aries Ogun. This is being motivated. This is taking action, being assertive. Aries energy is associated with the solar plexus chakra. This is when we go into the celestial enforcer, right? Enforcing things in our space. And 3 deals with emotions. How do we feel, right? And when you enforce how you feel in your space, how you feel is not in alignment with any of the things that's going on out here, right? If you be for real, like, think about it. Think about the things that you actually feel. How do you feel about the world today? How do you feel about the social climate? How do you feel about the economics? How do you feel about your neighbors? How do you feel about your job? How do you feel about your boss? How do you feel about your family? How do you feel about how your household is being kept? You know what I'm saying? Now, what if you started enforcing those things in your space? Do you think that you would get a lot of pushback? Do you think you would get a lot of support? Do you think you would get an equality of both? You ain't got to answer me. I would like it though, because I hate when I feel like I'm talking to myself up here. But, a lot of you guys would get a lot of pushback. You know what I'm saying? A lot of you guys would if you moved in your authenticity. There was a movie. I love the guy. What's his name? Ricky Jarvis or whatever. As a creator, I know we get into the Me Too thing and da da da. I get it. But he had a movie where everybody had to tell the truth, and everybody was just speaking truth, like they couldn't lie. And the things people were saying was like very sarcastic, witty, smart, or whatever. But it was just like that's 13 though. That's like really saying what's on your mind, really enforcing the boundary that you want to enforce instead of going with the flow, because you have been taught and trained that, okay, if I say this, that's not okay. If I say this, that like we've been taught to train how to interact with one another, to where we don't want to say anything outside of what we've been trained, because a part of us is like, I don't want the repercussions. I don't want the consequences. You don't even really know what the consequences are because you don't ever enforce your own stuff in your space. So that's another reason why 13 is considered a karmic number. You know what I'm saying? 1 being knowledge and 3 being understanding. So we have the knowledge and understanding. Understanding is what we get to after we exercise the knowledge and we come into conclusion with that knowledge. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, we get fed more knowledge than we give out. Not too many of us are in a position of giving out knowledge. Like when I was in school and we were learning about the sciences and the historians and the philosophers, especially in college when I started learning about psychologists, and we are always learning about the same theorists or whatever. I want to be a theorist. I want to come up with my own theories. I want to come up with my own mindset, and that's why people like Terrence Howard like wow me so much, because it's like we live in a world where everybody is like, no, you got to do what Plato and Socrates and Buddha and Freud and Carl Jung and you got to do what these people already said. You can't come up with your own theories. You can't come up with your own methods. You can't come up with your own philosophies. That doesn't make sense. It's not what was already said. Like the same thing in like the temple. Like you can't come up with your own things that you want done. You got to do what Noble Drew Ali already said. It's like it's like we're being, caged as thinkers, as believers, as creators. And that's another reason why 13 is a karmic debt number. Because it's like at some point we have to learn how to break through that. And that's the big chain that we wear in this space. 1 is Ketters, that's associated with Aquarius energy, being revolutionary, being unique, you know what I'm saying, detaching. 3 is Saturn, Bina. Then we get into, restrictions and limitations. So learning to have the balance of the two. We love and we embrace the restrictions and limitations because they give us the lines that we need to be within. However, we need to be revolutionary at the same time. Like we have certain laws, like the laws of the universe. Everything is moving at all times. Nothing alive is at a complete standstill. So everything is always moving. Even like you got a wood house, your house be moving, don't it? Like during certain seasons, the door is too big for the doorway, the wood starts growing and shrinking. You hear the floors creaking and all that. It's moving because it's alive. You're always moving because you're alive. Everything is always moving because it's always alive. Then another law: no two things can sit in the same place at the same time, right? I can't be, well, now because I have the ones and zeros, but on a physical level, that's a divine alignment. Okay, so me being physically here in the space, I can't be here and then be where you're at listening to me. But with the ones, the Aquarius energy, which also rules over electronic communication, now I am there with you and you can hear me right now. And you are looking at me right now while I sit here. You know what I'm saying? So that's a nice alignment of a 1 and 3 as well. So, that's why 1 and 3 is considered like a heavy karmic number, because you have to break free from the things that have been fed to us for the first 13 years of your life. Not the first 13, because we 13, you in such and such grade, but those 13 years of education, those 13 years of training, you know what I'm saying, that put you in that box, that made you afraid to create, or create is like a side hustle, or after I get done doing whatever. No, creation should be a part of the whole picture. I shouldn't have to wait till after work to create. Work should be a part of my creation space. I shouldn't have to wait till after this I can go do some type of expression or whatever. Like, oh, I can finally express how I feel over here. No, that's not how we're doing. Even when I do my energy awareness course, there was a period of time where we had came into the discussion of our home life and how we use our home life as a punching bag, because when we're out in the world, we wear a mask and we allow that training to take over, right? So it's like you're out in the world, you're interacting with these people, you allow yourself to be in that box because you don't want to create no waves at work or at school or with people you're around, But then when you come home, you just unload on your children, you unload on your partner, or if you live alone, you just unload, or and it creates like this sense of depression, and I can't do anything here, and if I can't be myself with you, and the world is out there against me, and and it's like, it shouldn't feel that way though. You're creating that reality. You create that reality. If you go to that job and you're in your creative self and you're in that emotional self and it creates waves, that's not the place for you. So stay in your authenticity, allow yourself to get fired, allow yourself to get kicked out, allow them to push you out, and stay in your authenticity, because no two things can stay in the same place at the same time. So that stuff has to get removed so you can get in a space that accepts you as you are. Does that make sense? Probably not to some of you guys who don't like to be breaking out 13s. But that is so important, because the 13 comes together and makes 4. And 4 is chesed. 4 is mayat. This is your internal law. So however you're operating in that 13 determines what your internal law is. and how you're expressing it. And a lot of you guys don't have an internal law. When you guys come to me for one-on-one sessions, when we start off with your root chakra, that's one of the first things that I ask and tell you. And it'd be so crazy because y'all don't say it. Y'all don't never have an answer for me. Like, do you have a set of classroom rules? Everywhere around you, there's rules. There's rules when you enter other people's households. My house, my rules. There's rules when you're in a classroom. There's rules when you're at work. There's rules in the city you're in, the county, the state, the country. There's rules. Rules. Everybody got rules, but you. You don't have no rules for yourself. Why not? What's going on here? Where are your rules? Oh, your rules, you utilize the rules outside of yourself to dictate your internal self. Okay. Nothing wrong with that. But how is that? So how has life been going with you only utilizing the laws and the statutes and the codes and, the policies? How has that been going for you in your space? Oh, you feel like people just come into your space and treat you any kind of a way? They gaslight you. They do the thing. Okay. I wonder why. Yeah, that 13 is very important because it influences that internal law that you create for yourself. If you don't have no classroom rules, something that I've been stressing to you guys since Capricorn season, preparing you for this year of 9, then you're doing yourself a disservice. You're allowing anything and anybody to come in your space. You're manifesting in very intimate relationships with people who, and your heart doesn't feel it. You don't feel it. You wanna know why? Because you've created this reality with your mind and your heart can't navigate through it. So you're allowing these relationships to come in space. This is my friend. That's my friend. This is my friend. That's my lover. This, that, and the third. And your heart can't navigate through these relationships because it's not feeling it. You do have an internal law. You just need to learn how to align with it. Your heart is trying to tell you, but you've been taught so much to ignore your feelings. You're trying to intellectualize how you feel. And I promise you, I'm not speaking from my nose down. I'm here with y'all because I do the same shit, y'all. Sometimes I fall short. Sometimes I forget. Sometimes I'm like, oops, I did it again. It's okay. When I speak from experience. You know what I'm saying? I speak of like, this is what worked for me. So maybe it'll work for you. Maybe somebody out there needs to hear what I got to say or what I'm going through. You know what I'm saying? It's never from my high horse. The only time I'm on my high horse is when I'm on stage performing my music. That's the only time y'all gonna see me on my high horse for real. Outside of that, I be chill. I be so chill. That's where I get my Leo fix at, on stage. But yeah, so work on your internal law. Work on your mayat. It's very, very important. Okay? It's very, very important. And it helps you navigate through the relationships and the reality you've created, and pay attention to your emotions because they're letting you know if this reality needs some tweaking. Your heart will tell you, like, I can't navigate through this. There's nowhere for me to go. We're not feeling this right here. The mind got to do some things. So, sometimes you got to change the plan, but don't change the goal. You know what I'm saying? So that's there. 4 also is like a number of stability and reliability. It's like a structure, right? Because we can build things on a square. You know what I'm saying? That's the brick. So, if you're building things on a faulty foundation, expect that tower to fall a lot quicker than they usually fall, right? So being mindful of that is a big thing, right? What else? Guys? 4 deals with home and family and sense of belonging and astrology. We need to have, you need to have some classroom rules with that. You know what I'm saying? Because some of y'all be in social structures, like I was saying before. Some of y'all are in social clubs, social circles, and stuff like that are not in alignment with yourself and what you think and how you believe. I had that experience about a couple years ago or so. I was in this group, and initially it was in alignment. I did feel a sense of belonging, but then after a while, it transmuted into something that I didn't feel like I wanted to continue to be a part of. I felt that in a few different groups. As certain things were growing, it just felt like, okay, this is in alignment with, I don't feel like I belong in this anymore. I don't want to engage in these conversations. My heart wasn't in it anymore. It felt heavy. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, okay, we need to tweak our reality. So I did. And here I am. I didn't die. My head didn't explode. Do I still talk to some of those people? Some of them, yeah. Some of them I don't speak to at all. They can't. I don't know if they can't stand me. I don't really care. I got a feeling that some of them are watching me. It is what it is. Or they send people to watch me so they can have conversation. It is what it is. Some people don't support me, and that was just confirmation because I require reciprocity. If I'm showing up for you and yours, I require for you to help me out and show up for me and mine. So that was confirmation. Like, yeah, see? So I'm proud of the decision I made. Otherwise, I would have stayed in them circles. I would have stayed in them organizations, those business structures and everything, feeling unsupported. And it got to the point, I'm getting to the point in my spiritual journey and my emotional journey that my heart gets real loud if I go too long ignoring it. If I don't pay attention for too long, it gets real loud. And now I feel like I'm being chastised. You know, I start feeling in my neck, my chest. I don't feel good. You know, my body start declining. It's a whole thing over here. I don't know how it is for y'all. I don't like it. So I'm not going to continue ignoring how I feel. Not how I feel is like the main, like this doesn't feel right. And I'm trying to wrap my mind around it. I don't know why it doesn't feel like right, but it doesn't. So we're going to go with it. Sometimes maybe it'd be over exaggerated. I wouldn't know because I listened to my heart. So you're just never going to know. And we just going to keep where we at. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, make sure y'all flow in that 13 because it's definitely going to help you guys with creating that foundation on that 4, that sense of belonging, home and family, nurturing energy, nurturing yourself. It's nurturing to yourself to listen to how you feel. How can you expect your partner, your friends, your children, everybody else to respect and accept how you feel if you're not even respecting and accepting how you feel well enough to act on it, to respond to it, to, you know, allow it to assist in how you move in your space? That's not fair. It's not fair to you, and it's not fair to the people around you because you're expecting them to take on the load that you're not even taking. And that's a heavy load to take when you're not doing your part. It's very heavy. So that's why a lot of y'all out here chain smoking blunts now, talking about something. I smoke a lot because I get angry. You get angry because you're not living in the reality that your heart can navigate through. And you don't want to listen to that. So you rather numb yourself with weed or alcohol, pills, food, you know, content, television. Be real with yourself. Be real with yourself. You didn't come here for that shit. You didn't come here to numb yourself. You came here for an experience. Allow yourself to experience it. You deserve it. Yeah? So we're going to take that 4 and we're going to put it into the year of 9. This is the year of Yesod. This is the year of giving birth. And we can read about the 9 and Metuneta too. I got time today. It's Saturday morning. My body woke me up very early. And because I'm getting used to this schedule of things. And so let's take our time today. Let's go through some things today. So let's read about the year of 9 and the Netarus. So 9 is all set, y'all. 9 is Gabrielle, Yesod, Yemaya, Yemoja, Dumavati. Okay. 9 Sephiroth is ruled by the moon. The day is Monday. Sea blue is the color for the year. The number is 7. The gems are pearl and moonstone. As far as the herbs for the year of 9, spearmint, lettuce, wild lettuce, and purslane for the bath. Oils of spearmint and jasmine. The incense of jasmine and spearmint. The hekau for spirituality is Dum, Dhum, and Vam, Vam. You want to face the east. The planetary hekau is Ang, Shrang, Shring, Shrung, and you're going to face the northwest for that one, right? As far as the personality portfolio on that activity on the animal spirits and positive traits is being caring, motherliness, conservative, benevolent, accommodating, sweet-mannered, timorous, fearful, comfort-loving, wants security, and to be free of the cares and difficulties in life. Some negative traits to be looking out for is being indolent, daydreaming, uncaring, facilitating, neglectful, careless, impressionable, gullible, fearful, idle, hating work, discontented, inclined to intoxicants, living beggarly and unsteadfast. Some careers or functions is a mother, wife, domestic life, hereditary factors, midwives, nurses, sailors, vagabonds, the masses, teachers of children, midwives, farmers, servants, menial employment, millers, dealers, and workers with liquids. Those are all the careers on the forefront right now. As far as the spiritual portfolio goes, devotion, humility, following mediumistic trance, receptivity, indiscriminate imitations. Some key phrases: catering to the emotions, preferences, love of ease, negligent, careless, indolent, receptivity, impressionability, gullibility, by being humble, caring, nurturing, sympathetic, indulgent, compassionate, relaxed, peaceful, and through mediumistic trance. Some biological correspondence. Physiologically speaking, the cold and moist energy of the moon is the basis of the well-being of the reproductive, which are the ovaries, the uterus, digestive, assimilative, autonomous nervous system. By devoting ourselves to realizing our true self, the indwelling intelligence, we come to realize that the true self is in all beings, is none other than the supreme being. Thus, we elevate our devotion to uplifting our character and to caring for others at the highest level of spirituality. Because when we care for others, we care for self, and we're caring for the Most High at the same time. Okay. Some negative spiritual energy. The ignorance of our divinity, of our inner being, constituting our true self and that of others, degenerates our caring for others and others into permissiveness, thus undermining our spiritual development. Some keynotes: devotion to spiritual development, and some negative keynotes are being permissiveness, the loving of creature comforts, what I just said, what y'all do to numb yourself from this reality, neglectful and fearful. Okay. Every emotional experience is a mediumistic trance induction, which creates or reinforces a conditioning. You may be reminded that all set is the point through which you express your devotion to things. It reveals to you what you truly worship. The likeness of God in which you are made, that you identify with, care for, most for, is your person, the complex of conditioned thought and emotional reactions. Do you know which God you worship? That's a question. Do you know which God you worship? So that's the year of 9. 9 also deals with Sagittarius energy, as Sagittarius rules both the 9th house. This is foreign interaction, which we see tremendously on the ones and zeros. Now, how is it being absorbed in your personal life? Are you engaging with people that are different from you, that think different, that live different from different cultures? Are you engaging with activities and stuff like that? That'll bring you a nice sense of abundance, because Jupiter rules over Sagittarius, and that's dealing with generosity, abundance, expansion. Now we're getting into the choke my energy of it all. Optimism is big here. Joy. We're in the year of joy. This is the year of jubilee. This is gold and the alchemist energy, right? So we move in gratitude. We move in awareness. We love the year of 9 of giving birth to the things. We're not here to paint in the lines when it comes to giving birth to the things. We're here to, expand as much as we can. You know what I'm saying? Expand, travel. Even if it's not in the physical, in the spiritual, in the mental, in the ones and zeros. Hey, benevolent, peace to the God. That's all in your power. So we're going to take that 4, that chesed, that mayat, that internal law, and we're going to put it into the 9. Of course, we want to give birth to our internal law. We want to expand on it. We want to, have joy in it. And we want to put it to our sacral chakra, our space of mayat. And so that brings us back to 1 and 3. So once again, the 9 is saying you can have that 4, you can have that, internal law. You want to give birth to a bet. When we put it out into the birthing canal, and now you live in it. Now you're going to live in it in the 1 and 3 before you can bring it back to that 4. So once again, you're going to have to take action on how you feel. You're going to have to express what you know. You know what I'm saying? So today is a heavy karmic number day of like standing on your handle and allowing that to contribute to your internal law. Peace, Adonis. Peace to God. So be mindful of that today. We love this day of 4. We love the chesed energy. And I can read that from the Netherus as well. Let's get into it. Again, today's a great day for the 1, 4, 7s, and 8s, because y'all don't want to say y'all like to be alone, but you guys are very dependable and reliable and all those things like that too. So this is the day of Mayat, y'all, Seshat, Zaikael, Jadula, or Chesed in the Kabbalah, Yoruba is Chagulia, and Hindu Kush is Lakshmi. Jupiter is the energy for today. Sky blue for the spiritual Hakao of 4, yellow for the planetary Hakao of 4. Maya is associated with the number 2, even though it's associated with the 4th Sephiroth. As far as the baths go, thuja, anise, and honeysuckle. The oils is anise and oak moss. The incense is the aloes and anise. The spiritual Hakao is shring, and shring, and we do that to the southeast. The planetary Hakao is on grain, green, grong, and we do that to the west. The activity on the animal spirits and positive traits is being just, equilibrated, holistic, generous, sharing, optimistic, liberal, magnanimous, moral sense, striving for advancement and wealth in a positive manner, religious, successful, fortunate, law abiding, fair, charitable, deferring to elders, no trafficking with evil, grateful or prudent. Some negative traits: greedy, negatively expansive for food, sex, material things, etc., pleasure seeking, boastful, extravagant, unlawful, materialistic, wasteful, unsocial, successful, unfortunate, hypocritical regarding religion and law, false religious, legal, and scientific tenets. Excuse me. Some mental traits: synthesis, gaining insight into things by unifying them through the use of abstract analogies. Hence, well fitted for philosophical and theoretical scientific religious pursuits. Some social correspondences: judges, very experienced lawyers, theoretical scientists, theoreticians, theologians, bishops, cardinals, bankers, merchants, upper echelon priests and priestesses, fortune hunters, officials, and managers. So those are the careers that are on the forefront this year, and we see that a lot. Um, I want to be a theologian so bad, but if I be true to myself, I am. I already am. I already am. Doctrine of law and divine law and order, optimism, faith, love, abundance, success in an individual undertaking, and spiritual advancement is the spiritual portfolio of the nine. And as far as the spiritual function, she walks with a papyrus scepter. She achieves abundance. Mayat's papyrus scepter fuses divine law with the abundance that follows from it. Its color green, yellow. Its color green symbolizes abundance and fruitfulness, while the papyrus, which was used for writing, symbolizes the book of the law. She realizes that even her enemies are integral parts of the whole and thus works and shares with them. Seisha raises her consciousness to the whole of Metuneter and realizes the ultimate unity of all things. There are no irreconcilable opposites in the world. This is the source of an undaunted optimism, faith, and inner joy, which reveal themselves in a peaceful, genuine smile and relaxed Hitet state of being, even in the midst of setbacks and greatest external difficulties. Mayat, the divine law, is the food and drink of Ra, which is the life force. She nourishes her life force with the divine law and gives endlessly of her love, shares seeking nothing in return. There is no end to her worldly fortune, as her giving is answered in the depths of Nut. Perseverance in adhering to a belief system based on the cosmological arrangement and synthesis of divine laws, such as achieved through the tree of life, leads to success in all undertakings, as the view of unity that is concealed in the midst of multiplicities that life presents to us is never lost. A collection of wise sayings and divine laws, however true, cannot save us if they are not arranged in an integral system of guiding us in our day-to-day existence. So you guys can have all the spiritual knowledge you want, all the esoteric knowledge you want, this, that, and the third. But if you guys are not ordering it and ordering it to something that you guys can, like, you got to come into the three, the Bina. The Bina is the sense of understanding, the order, the limitations, the discipline. If you guys are not coming into that four, that chesed, it's going to be all over the place. It's like you have all this knowledge, you can repeat all these things, but you're not really following through with it. It's really not being activated and acted upon. Okay. We have now seen how abstract analogies presented in this book, especially the symbols in the tree of life, serve to unify specifics across general categories. Unless the elements making up our belief system, whether secular or religious, are unified in this manner, they become enslaving agents of dogma instead of vehicles of salvation. Okay, so be mindful of that, especially with a lot of these quote unquote religious and spiritual sectors. A lot of them, they regurgitate the things, but they're not acting on it. So it becomes more, just like how much stuff can you regurgitate rather than are you actually living it and implementing it and acting on it? Because if you were, a lot of things in your reality would change. And there's a lot of things in our reality that we've been taught that we need to have, that we're supposed to have, that there's no life without these things. But if we really act on the spirituality of it all, those things don't exist. Like if we look at some of the spiritual leaders that we follow and admire the most, they didn't have a lot of the things that we're trying to hold on to, that we're convincing and allowing ourselves to say, oh, we have to have this, we have to have that, it has to look like this, it has to look like that. You know what I'm saying? Not to say you don't deserve those things. Live the reality you want to live. Just be mindful. You know what I'm saying? Just be aware of, the steps that you're going through to live it, to have it, whatever. I'm not here to say anything is right or wrong. I'm here to say, you really choose your reality. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's all. And if you find yourself trying to live a reality that was taught to you and it doesn't feel right because it's not really in alignment with yours, It gets a little crazy. It gets a little crazy in the emotional department. Now y'all walking around saying y'all neurodivergent and y'all get anxiety and y'all got depression and all this stuff, and y'all over here getting emotionally attached to these songs that play on that, to the point where y'all bite people's heads off if they say they don't like that song. Oh my God, you da 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 da. Why do you feel so emotionally invoked right now to communicate how you're communicating, to speak the spells that you're speaking right now? Let's get to the root of that. Okay. And I want to get into the numerology of 4. I know that it's all about being dependable and reliable, but I also want to read an excerpt out of my numerology book to you guys too, since I'm taking my time today. And then we're going to get into the astrological aspect of it all. So, lean back. This chair is not very comfortable. That's what I'm going to get out of storage today. I'm going to get my little chair out of storage. It's not comfortable either, but it's better than this. It's better than this. Okay, so 4 is practical and down to earth with strong ideas about right and wrong. So we get into that Maya energy even here, right? You're orderly and organized, systematic and controlled, and you are decisive and methodical, employing a step-by-step rational approach to problem solving. And once committed, you do not give up easily. You are not one for get-rich-quick schemes. Rather, your hard work and long hours while building on a business or career. You seek to establish you seek to establish a solid foundation, precise, tenacious, and persevering, having great potential for success, but only after putting out effort and by overcoming the limitations. Justice and honest are sacred, being reliable and dependable, and a cornerstone in a community. Not an idealist, but willing to work for a better world in a realistic way. So it has that balance in the justice skills, right? Rigid in ideas and sometimes quick in judging, that's the overactivity. Being loyal to those we love and working well with others is important, while being a part of a team and having one's own responsibilities and well-defined tasks. Performing better when responsibilities are not overlapping with those of others. Okay. Be careful not to be bossy and rude, possessing rare discipline and perseverance. Money handling is key here as well. Being mindful of being rigid and stuck in that internal law is a big one. Being cautious. Being obsessed and even vengeful is heavy here too. Seeking our own definition of justice. Be mindful of that. That may come to the forefront of some things. Being courageous and a true survivor, a builder and foundation of any enterprise. All right. The letters for today is DMV. DMV. So does that for numerology and the Neteru. So now we're going to get into the astronomical update. So today is 6/7. We've had major shifts with Mars and Mercury the last couple days, making draconic shifts and Vedic shifts. So our throat chakra and our solar plexus chakra is probably undergoing some working, as those planets outside of us are interacting differently with your personal placements within. Like my Mars is in Gemini. Mercury just entered Gemini constellation. So Mercury is, doing some things to, my tropical Mars. I'm saying, making some decisions, and where I think I'm motivated is heavy there. And you have Mars entering like Leo constellation. I'm a Leo rising, South Node in Leo, Jupiter in Leo. So I have the Mars events affecting my thoughts, and those placements are also in my Vedic on the natal space. And in my Vedic space, my Venus and my Mercury are in Leo as well. So Mars is aligning with those placements and my happenings with my Venus and Mercury, being confident and courageous and creative, and all those different things really focused on my personal Tipperary, and assertive things happening around me for me to engage in those things, forcing me to engage in those things, which is kind of difficult because I kind of like, as much as y'all see me over here talking, it's because I'm passionate about teaching. You know, my Vesta is in Gemini. This is my happy place. I have a lot, you know, I love doing this. But in actual life, yeah, I'm very like to myself and quiet, and you know, I can't, like, my energy is not quiet though. People still feel my energy, and I don't really say no too well. So like, of course I'm going to help, I'm going to show up, I'm going to do the things also because it's my passion too, and you know, being of service and stuff. But that's all, like, you know, examples of like how you can align what's going on in the planets around us to your personal planets. Feel free to comment in the chat if you have any alignments you want to share or whatever, with Mercury moving in Draconic Cancer, Vedic Gemini, or Mars moving in Draconic Virgo, Vedic Leo. As far as today, we start the day off with an 85% waxing gibbous moon. We're in that moon of building tangible things in our space. Moon rising at 5:19 p.m. and setting at 2:58 a.m. We're in Scorpio on the tropical and draconic. We actually just entered the Scorpio at midnight. We were at a 0 degree. So transformations, empowerment, death, and rebirth. It's heavy there. Business, secrets coming out. We're in Libra on the Vita chart at a 5 degree in Libra. So that brings us to the 14th lunar mansion, the Shitra Nakshatra. Some positive traits about this nakshatra: being artistic, independent, attractive, and highly spirited. Some negative traits is being self-centered, easily bored, conceited, quarrelsome, and corrupt. And by the end of the day, we enter in the 15th nakshatra, lunar mansion, the Swati nakshatra, and that goes on to 20 degrees Libra. And that's being truthful, meek, accurate, care for others, and high morale, or no limitations, being self-isolated, secretive, or hot-tempered. So I'm trying to scroll into my notes on the computer. This is why I like having everything printed out on paper, because when it comes to me doing things, the computer is just so slow compared to like how I move. I don't care what nobody say. People, I don't know. For some people in their reality, the computer is better and faster than them. For me, the computer is not better. It's not faster, and it's not smarter than me, and it's kind of frustrating. Like, not that I want it to be. It's just like it's not that great. It be in the way. So, starting the day when the moon transited in Swati, the energy shifts towards independence, adaptability, and intellectual exploration. The urge to break free and explore new avenues in life is a time to embrace change and movement, but also maintain the flexibility to adapt to new situations and responsibilities. That was the 15th, right? Yeah. So that's where we're at with that. And our mindset is on transformations and empowerment with our emotional self, while our energy exchanges is giving us those emotional experiences of equilibrium, balance, and justice. We're in the 8th house with it, so it's going towards our house of business and empowerment and secrets coming out. And you know, if you guys are in a relationship, that power between the couples and stuff like that. Sunrise, if you guys are over here with me in Jersey, is at 5:30 a.m. Sunset at 8:26 p.m. We're in Gemini on the tropical and draconic, so our mind and our spirit is having those intellectual experiences, you know, getting options, being flexible, witty, adaptable, be mindful, being fickle and all over the place. That's when we have an overactive, you know, Gemini experience. Then we have Taurus and our Vedic scales at 21 degrees to 1, that wisdom and knowledge, bringing us a sense of understanding of the Taurus energy. Taurus is the balance between what we value and what we prioritize, what we possess, you know, our wealth and business, with our love and forgiveness, and creativity and beauty is heavy here too, right? Which is cool because we're on the day of 7, right? So allow the, pay attention to the balance between Gemini, what we think experiences happening in the tropical and draconic, and the actual Vedic experience of what we feel, because that's what Taurus is, giving us the how we feel experiences. And it's all going to the fourth house, which is the vibe for this time and space thus far. It's home and family and a sense of belonging. We do not go into the fifth house this month at all. We are still in the fourth house, y'all. We're gonna be here for a minute. The moon in Zubin El Janubi, minimal angle at 6:45 a.m. The moon is no, that's tomorrow. Excuse me. Juno is at the largest distance to the sun at 6:10 a.m. This is called a phelion, astronomically speaking. Juno is the asteroid that shows us what we need in a relationship to want to stay in it. The moon is the furthest distance to the earth. That's apogee. So you feel like a distant, allowing your emotions not to feel as heavy as they've been feeling throughout the week. And we give a little bit of grace, you know what I'm saying? Because some of y'all have been feeling it very heavy, and that's okay. But it is still there, over there in Scorpio and Libra. Venus enters the Taurus Zodiac today, which is really cool, on a day of 7, which is Netzach, ruled by Venusian energy. So now we have Venus making a transit into that Taurus mindset of what we value and prioritize, and finding that balance between the material and emotional self, spaces of possession, creativity. So feeling motivated to make some things, is on the forefront today for my people that like to create stuff. I like Venus and Taurus. It's in this home space. People's emotions coming to the forefront. Hopefully you guys do come into a space where y'all start allowing, how you feel to do the things, to make the decisions in your spaces. Now we got the celestial hours on the Saturn day, which is here. We start the day off with Saturn. So those hours for Saturn is about dealing with, limitations, restrictions, focusing on some challenges you may experience in your space. Those hours are from 12 a.m. to 1 a.m., 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., and 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Jupiter deals with your expansion and abundance. Maybe do some long-term business planning. Working on your sacral chakra is heavy for Jupiter. Those hours are from 1 a.m. to 2 a.m., 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., 3 p.m. to 4 p.m., and 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Mars hours is assertive. You might want to work out during these hours. It's a great time dealing with your solar plexus chakra, your gut health, and those hours are from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., 4 p.m. to 5 p.m., and 11 p.m. to midnight. Because of course we start the Sunday on the sun. The sun is all about vitality, our energy centers, how we are experiencing and expressing ourselves. And those hours are from 3 a.m. to 4 a.m., 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., and 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. and then midnight we start the sun hours. Venus hours are for creativity, creation, how we feel, our emotions, but not so much as heavy as the moon. The moon is heavy on the emotions. Venus is just like how are we prioritizing and valuing and kind of bringing it into the physical, how we feel about the things. Venus is also good for romantic pursuits too. If you guys are in a relationship or trying to pursue one. Venusian hours are from 4 a.m. to 5 a.m., 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., and then 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Mercury's hours are about community and communication. Some light traveling can happen here. Trading, if you guys are into that kind of thing. Learning and teaching, reading, writing are good for Mercurian hours. Wherever your personal mercurial energy is at, it's where you can direct this mercurial hour. And that's from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m., 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then last but certainly not least, we have the moon. The moon is when you deal with home and family, your internal feminine energy, your emotional self, how you nurture yourself and others. And the moon's hours are from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. And so what you can do during those hours, like I was saying, was you can align them with your personal energy. Like, where is my Saturn? My Saturn is in Capricorn. So during those hours, I might deal with Saturn and Capricorn type energy. You know what I'm saying? Where is my moon? My moon is in Virgo. Being present in my progressive chart, my moon is currently in Scorpio energy. So during this period of time, I might be dealing with this or whatever we have, So having that kind of connectivity to where the planets are is a thing. And it's is a valid and it's helpful from experience. So maybe it might help you too. Excuse me as I get into my paperwork of the horoscopes. So as far as the horoscope energy goes, we are in the deer. Okay, swiftness and sharpness, and intellect, the need to be on go at all times, and difficulty grounding. As far as the West African, we are in the energy of the ancestors. We're here to the 4th of July, being powerful, imposing ourselves over other signs, strength, charm, wisdom, manipulating to get what we want, and must learn to interact with our environment. If we learn to not abuse their power, can be great leaders without the power abuse. And then because we are in the energy, well, I told you guys we're in the year of 9, right? That's gold. Being passionate, interesting, and faithful. People attract many people. Being generous, kind, long-lasting relationships, love of luxury and spending money, ambition and willpower. And then the Gemini energy rules over. I don't have that page, do I? I don't think I do. I'll get into it the next time. But I was going to get into the astrocartography of it. I don't see that paper open. It's in my binder downstairs. So I'll pull that out later. I need to just pull up the whole binder and just start bringing my binder out. It's just I don't be having enough table space for all the notes that I would go through doing everything up here. But I'm going to work on it, y'all. I got y'all. As far as the day of the week goes in the ancient Kemetic calendar, remember we're still in the energy of Seth. We're here till July, I believe. So that is the deity of chaos. This is why I don't like the internet. I don't computer. I'm just gonna print all this stuff out because this is annoying with the loading and the scrolling and I can't stand it. Just give me the piece of paper. We're in the harvest energy. This is the ruling deity of this month is Thoth or Ra. Harvesting continues, and this month is often a time for offerings. So giving offerings is heavy here. We are in the energy of Shavuot. On the Hebrew calendar, this is when the Torah was given on Mount Sinai, and we move in gratitude for that. You guys know this is the day of the Sabbath, right? And if y'all don't know any other Hebrew days, y'all know the Sabbath, right? So the Sabbath day is the day where God rested from his work and creation. Genesis 2:1-3. Sabbath is considered the holiest day of the week, a day of rest, reflection, and spiritual rejuvenation. It is a day of connection with God and a time of family and community, symbolizing completion and sanctification of creation. And it's a reminder of the importance of taking time to rest and reflect on the blessings of life. Now, on the Hindu calendar, we are in the energy of Mithuna, or tropically, Vedically, Vrishaba. As far as the day of the week, this is the day of Shanivar or Lord Shani. Saturn. Lord Shani is the god associated with karma, discipline, justice, and life lessons. Saturn as a planet represents challenges, hard work, and responsibility. Shani is often seen as stern but fair deity who rewards hard work and punishes laziness. So Saturdays are dedicated to worshiping Lord Shani and seeking relief from the effects of Saturn's influence, especially for those who with challenging positions in Saturn in their birth chart. It's a day of reflecting on one's actions, observing fasting, and performing Shani pujas. Many devotees offer black sesame seeds, oil, and iron to Lord Shani to appease him and mitigate the maleficent effects of Saturn. So that's what we have there. And so let's get into your reading. The theme of the reading is metamorphosis. I believe we had a moon and Pluto pull before, right? But this is what it is. It's transformations to our emotional self, moving into our powerful self. You see Kali, you see, the shadow down here, and rising out of the shadows is Kali with all these flowers, which is in line with the analogy I gave before. You guys asked for, flowers, you get the rain, you're complaining about the rain, and you think just because you have the flowers now that the rain won't continue to occur, but it will. You know what I'm saying? It will continue to occur because that's how you keep the flowers blooming. So the whole goal is to have joy throughout the entire process, being your power, empowerment to your emotional self, your nurturing self. It's not a weakness, it's empowerment. Here I have the Seven of Wands. You know what I'm saying? We are in this day of seven, being binded, hiding behind the wands and things of that nature. But, taking action. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to speak on it. Do that shit. Just do it. Just take action on it. You know, and then we also have the six of wands. We have the six and the seven of wands. Okay, so the equality. So what you take action on, what you're designing and things like that, is what you're going to get back. Because six is the number of harvest and equality in our space of action. So if you're not putting any actions towards anything, if you're not making the things happen, then it's not going to come back. And that's also in the space of the metamorphosis with Pluto, because Pluto is the number 8, and we know 8 is a figure 8. Higher you go, the lower you go. The lower you go, the higher you go. The goal is to be the homeostasis in the middle if you want to play it safe. However, like I was saying, y'all, a lot of people that y'all look up to are very risky people. Y'all want to look up to the Buddhas and the Sadis and the gurus and the celebrities and the inventors and the politicians, but they live a very risky life. They make very risky choices. They're not playing it safe. They don't align with the 13 years of education. They went outside of that. You know what I'm saying? That was my whole like monologue on that 13 of like, yo, y'all been trained for 13 years for a reason, because that makes room for only a certain amount of people who was like, you know what, fuck all this, things that you've given me. I'm gonna go express what I know or what I think or what I feel. If everybody did that, then certain entities wouldn't be able to control the masses how they are. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what I'm here to do. And then if you notice that 7 and 6, the 13 right there, and it brings us to the 4. So that's a divine alignment. That wasn't intentional. You guys watch me shuffle my cards. I intentionally do the shuffling in the camera now because I see some people try to come at my neck. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to show y'all. I don't make this shit up. But yes, there is empowerment here. You know what I'm saying? What you put in, what you get out. So this is calling you guys to fall into that 13 and start taking action. Start taking risks. Stop being afraid. Stop trying to flow into the lines. Yes, there's people in your life that you admire, that you care about, that are some authority figures in your space or have been since you've grown up. And they're going to come and they're going to tell you the color in the lines. And they don't realize that they're being agents. Some of them don't know. You know what I'm saying? They're like, yeah, you should color in these lines because it makes sense, because this is my reality and this is what works for me. And I color in the lines, so you should color in these lines. Listen, if you want to take risks, if you want that big life, if you want to do the things, you can't color in the lines the way they've been coloring. So, not necessarily being angry with them, but with respect. Like, fuck what you talking about. You know what I'm saying? What parts of self should we focus on? We have Hod. Now we come into the celestial technician. This is the Acephalon. That's when we get into the mercurial energy. And like I was telling y'all earlier, we have some big shifts happening in mercurial energy. This is our decision-making energy. This is how we compartmentalize and label things and analyze things in our space, Ashe. So we're focusing on Jupiter and Gemini, the expansion and abundance in our decision-making skills. And we do have Jupiter and with Gemini in the Vedic, right? We're still there in the Vedic, I believe. So we have that happening. I'm just waiting for Leo. I'm just waiting for my season to pull up on me. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm waiting on. Jupiter and Leo. Let's fucking go. And that's going to be when my Jupiter return is going to be in a year of the horse, and I'm a horse. I'm going to have a great time. But that's me getting in the future. Let's come back. But being expanded in abundance in your option, you have so many options. You have so many different routes and ways you could do. Joy in all the decisions that you make. It comes back to the thing. If you're not having joy in it, if you're not having fun in it, why are you doing it? Why? For why? And if you give me an answer that's in alignment with your indoctrination or your education on that 13, then you wasn't listening to me for this past 1 hour and 11 minutes. Okay? Okay? So let's come back to it. Forgiveness. Forgiveness is also another part that we need to focus on ourselves. You guys need to forgive yourselves, not just other people around you that, people raised you based on what they know. Not everybody had all this esoteric knowledge and spiritual knowledge. It's knowledge of self. Some people they didn't have time to have that. You know what I'm saying? Some people chose different realities. They chose fun. They chose to have the critter comforts or whatever, what have you. They chose to have all these different things. So they're coming to you from their reality. So we give them grace and we forgive them for doing what they know. It's not to be judged and, oh, y'all didn't do this and y'all didn't do that and I'm a better this than y'all and I'm a better. It ain't none of that. Everybody's living their reality accordingly. So forgive them And in the same breath, learn to forgive yourself, because at some point in time you was moving in the lines as well. You was moving with an imbalanced 13, with an imbalanced 4 as well. At some point in time you didn't have boundaries. Sometimes you still don't have boundaries, and people pull you back into, and you regress into your older self or whatever, your younger self or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's older self and younger self at the same time, right? See how time is not linear in the language? But forgive yourself for some of the choices that you made and stuff when you guys were not, really engaging in that 6 and 7 of wands, that 13, like that, when you guys weren't allowing yourself to have joy in the process. Because that level of forgiveness gives you the space of like, I know what was happening, I acknowledge, I accept, I take responsibility for what's happening, and now I'm ready to move forward. You know what I'm saying? Now I know what to do next. Now I can do what's going next, and that's moving in gratitude. I did not shuffle these African spirituality cards, so we're gonna do that right now in this space of metamorphosis. Okay, I like the forgiveness card. Honestly, I don't think I've ever pulled that with you guys, have I? I don't think I've ever pulled that card with anybody. So this is the first time I've pulled the forgiveness card, but that's where we're at today, y'all. We in this space of forgiveness, and we give ourselves grace. Okay, so in this space and time, I forgive myself. I forgive myself for doing the things, and let's move forward. Rash boy. Now, when I pulled this and this car popped up, I immediately thought of my sons. My son crashed out last night. I had got back-to-back messages. I asked my son to draw something for me, and it ended in him crashing out because he doesn't feel like he drew what I asked him to draw. So when he wakes up, me and him have to have a conversation about the importance of learning, because he doesn't like to learn things. He likes to be like, I already know it, I already know it. So we're gonna have that conversation when he wakes up. And then my oldest son, he has always had this habit of pulling his hair out. And as I sit here in my live, I'm standing in a pile of his hair. So I feel like my son is secretly crashing out about something. And that's just me being transparent about my personal life. So I have to talk, me and my sons have to have, some dialogue today. But Rash boy, reacting. It's a lot of anger going on. This is probably the individual you need to forgive, because this person was probably acting out in some type of way, shape, or form in regards to not being in alignment with that 6 and 7 of wands, not finding joy in those everyday activities, that Jupiter and Gemini, that eight of swords card. So we need to forgive this individual for acting out during those periods of time where we weren't in alignment and we didn't know how to allow our heart to navigate us through our reality. Okay, we need to forgive that individual, and we need to forgive ourselves for not listening to that individual and trying to quiet them and suppress them and say, hey, we can't act like this, we can't do this, we can't do that, and sucking it up and apologizing to other people for our rashness without coming into full understanding and understanding of why it even happened to begin with. Okay, so it's just a lot of like reconciliation and hugging ourselves and hugging our facets of ourselves and remembering those moments when we acted out and we was acting up, and realizing what was out of alignment in those moments, and let it bring us empowerment, bring us back to that Pluto and that moon alignment. There's power in your emotions. There's power in nurturing, not just other people, because we always make this about other people. Like, I love hard. I love strong. Can you love yourself as hard as you be out here loving these niggas and these ladies? I need you to start doing that. You know what I'm saying? There's empowerment in that. It's way more power in pouring all that loving hard and loving strong and being obsessed and overindulged and being crazy for self than it is doing it for someone else. I promise you there is. Oh, my notification. Mercury is square my natal moon. Jesus Christ. But that's what I got for you today, my beautiful cosmic nobodies. I appreciate you guys for tapping in and chilling here with me. I will see you guys later as we will be reading the Torah. I didn't forget. I took yesterday off. I had other things to do. But I will be back. And for those of you guys that are in the space, tomorrow I will be performing some poetry in alignment with Sir Ovid, the poet, in Mount Holly tomorrow. If you guys are interested in aligning with me, message me and I'll give you guys the details for that. It is a free event, and it's a great time to network and just communicate and manifest some things into our space together as a collective, as creators. You know what I'm saying? And this is also a space that brings me joy. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I have. I love you guys so much. Happy Saturday. Enjoy this beautiful day of 4, finding your internal chesed, and forgive yourself. Find power in your emotions. So peace to y'all over there, Facebook. Thank you guys for showing me love. Peace to y'all over there in TikTok. Y'all been some real ones. And of course, peace to y'all over there on Facebook. YouTube. Peace.